Emotional conflicts and shame surrounding unconventional desires often stem from societal judgment and personal internalized beliefs. Many individuals experience guilt or confusion when their sexual desires do not align with societal norms, such as those involving fetishes or non-traditional relationship dynamics. These feelings can arise from a fear of being misunderstood or ostracized for deviating from accepted sexual practices. Shame may also stem from early experiences where these desires were suppressed or ridiculed, causing individuals to question their worth or morality. Additionally, individuals may struggle with reconciling their fantasies with their sense of identity or values, leading to emotional turmoil. The tension between personal desires and societal expectations can create a sense of isolation and distress. Over time, accepting and embracing these desires requires self-compassion, understanding, and sometimes the support of communities that are open to alternative sexual expressions. Therapy and open communication can also help in reducing shame and fostering emotional acceptance. Individuals cope with societal judgment in various ways, depending on their personal resilience and support systems. One common coping mechanism is denial or avoidance, where individuals may suppress or hide their desires and behaviors to avoid judgment. Others may seek acceptance within niche communities or subcultures that share similar values and practices, providing a sense of belonging and validation. Some individuals challenge societal norms by openly embracing their desires and expressing themselves authentically, despite the potential for negative judgment. This can require immense courage and confidence as they navigate the risk of social exclusion or criticism. In many cases, therapy or counseling helps individuals process and reframe their feelings of shame and guilt, offering emotional support and tools for coping with judgment. Over time, individuals may develop a stronger sense of self-acceptance and learn to prioritize their own happiness over societal approval, allowing them to live more freely without being weighed down by external opinions. Partners navigate differing sexual desires through open communication, mutual respect, and compromise. The key to managing differences is creating a safe space where both individuals feel comfortable expressing their needs and boundaries without fear of judgment. In many cases, this requires honest conversations about what each partner desires and how those desires can be integrated into their relationship. Active listening and empathy are crucial, as each partner must understand the other's perspective and emotional needs. When desires clash, partners may work together to find a middle ground that satisfies both individuals or agree to explore certain aspects of their desires separately. Trust and flexibility are also important in maintaining a healthy relationship while exploring differing sexual preferences. Seeking external support such as therapy or counseling can help partners navigate complex sexual dynamics, providing professional guidance in overcoming challenges and fostering intimacy. Ultimately, the goal is to ensure both partners feel valued and respected while honoring their individual desires. Case studies on communication and consent in unconventional relationships highlight the importance of clear dialogue and mutual understanding. In these relationships, where traditional norms may not apply, individuals often navigate complex dynamics such as polyamory, BDSM, or open relationships. One case study might involve a polyamorous couple discussing the boundaries and expectations of their multiple partners. Clear communication is essential to prevent misunderstandings and ensure that all parties are comfortable with the relationship structure. In a BDSM dynamic, consent plays a pivotal role in establishing safe and consensual practices between dominant and submissive partners. Regular check-ins and discussions before, during, and after a scene help maintain trust and safety. Another case study could explore a couple in an open relationship where they negotiate their desires and set boundaries to avoid jealousy and miscommunication. In all these scenarios, the key to successful navigation is honest, transparent communication, where all parties involved feel respected and their boundaries honored. Ethical concerns and critiques of unconventional desires often center around the concepts of consent, exploitation, and harm. One of the primary concerns is ensuring that all parties involved in unconventional practices are fully consenting and not coerced into participating. In any relationship dynamic, especially those involving power exchange such as BDSM or polyamory, clear and informed consent is crucial to avoid abuse or manipulation. Another critique revolves around the potential for exploitation in situations where one partner holds more power or control over the other, leading to emotional or psychological harm. Additionally, some critics argue that certain desires could perpetuate harmful stereotypes or unhealthy power dynamics which could be damaging in the long term. Ethical considerations also involve ensuring that individuals engaging in unconventional desires do so in a safe and consensual manner without causing harm to themselves or others. In sum, the ethical evaluation of unconventional desires is centered on mutual respect, autonomy, and the avoidance of harm. Individuals and experts balance freedom of expression with ethical concerns by prioritizing consent, respect, and harm reduction. Freedom of expression allows people to explore and share their desires without fear of judgment, but ethical concerns require that these expressions do not cause harm to themselves or others. Experts such as therapists and counselors often work with individuals to ensure that their desires are healthy, consensual, and respectful of boundaries. In unconventional relationships or practices, it is important that all participants clearly communicate their limits and desires to avoid misunderstandings and abuse. Experts also stress the importance of emotional safety, ensuring that the psychological well-being of all involved is considered. At the same time, individuals are encouraged to explore their desires within the context of mutual respect and understanding. By balancing these elements, both individuals and experts help maintain an environment where freedom of expression can coexist with ethical considerations. The role of law in regulating unconventional sexual practices is primarily focused on ensuring that all activities are consensual, safe, and do not cause harm to individuals or society. Laws are in place to prevent abuse, exploitation, and coercion in sexual relationships regardless of their unconventional nature. Consent is a central legal concern, as any sexual act must involve clear, informed, and voluntary agreement from all parties involved. Many jurisdictions have laws addressing issues such as age of consent, non-consensual acts, and the prevention of exploitation, which apply to both conventional and unconventional sexual practices. Laws also regulate activities that could result in harm, such as unsafe sexual practices or activities that involve a power imbalance, ensuring that safety standards are maintained. Additionally, legal frameworks may protect individuals from discrimination or harassment based on their sexual preferences, encouraging a balance between personal freedom and societal protection. Society decides what is too far in sexual exploration through a combination of cultural, moral, legal, and social norms. These norms are shaped by a range of factors including religion, tradition, media influence, and historical contexts. What is considered acceptable or normal in sexual behavior varies widely across different societies and cultures, often reflecting the values and beliefs of the dominant groups within a given community. In many cases, behaviors that are seen as violating established norms or causing harm to individuals are labeled as too far. For example, practices that are non-consensual, abusive, or exploitative are generally considered unacceptable, regardless of the specific desires involved. Public opinion, shaped by education, exposure, and evolving attitudes, also plays a significant role in determining these boundaries. However, as society becomes more open and diverse, definitions of what is too far may continue to change, reflecting growing acceptance of unconventional practices as long as they are consensual and safe. Attitudes towards sexual exploration and unconventional desires are evolving significantly, especially among younger generations. This shift is largely driven by increased access to information through the internet, social media, and open discussions about sexuality. Younger people are more likely to embrace diverse sexual identities and practices, viewing them as a natural expression of human desires rather than something to be stigmatized. The rise of platforms that promote inclusivity and diversity, such as LGBTQ+ communities and online support groups, has created a more accepting environment for exploring unconventional sexual desires. Additionally, younger generations tend to prioritize consent, communication, and mutual respect in their relationships, further challenging traditional views on sexuality. As society becomes more progressive, the younger generation is more likely to question outdated norms and embrace a broader range of sexual expressions, focusing on personal choice, freedom, and acceptance without fear of judgment. This shift represents a more open and tolerant perspective on human sexuality. Education and awareness play a crucial role in destigmatizing certain sexual practices by providing accurate information and fostering open discussions. As society becomes more aware of diverse sexual preferences and practices, it helps reduce shame and misunderstanding. Comprehensive sex education, which includes discussions about consent, boundaries, and the importance of mutual respect, enables individuals to understand their own desires and the desires of others without judgment. It also helps distinguish between healthy consensual practices and harmful behaviors. When individuals are educated about various sexual orientations, fetishes, and relationship dynamics, they are less likely to view them through a lens of taboo or shame. Increased awareness can lead to greater acceptance and the normalization of non-mainstream practices as legitimate forms of sexual expression. By eliminating misinformation and promoting empathy, education encourages a more inclusive and accepting environment where people can explore their sexuality freely and safely without fear of stigma. The rise of online communities, virtual reality, and technological advancements has significantly transformed sexual exploration. Online communities provide a platform for individuals to connect with others who share similar interests and desires, creating spaces where people can explore their sexuality in a non-judgmental environment. These communities offer anonymity, which allows people to discuss and experiment with different aspects of their sexual identity without fear of social stigma. Virtual reality (VR) takes this a step further by allowing individuals to engage in immersive sexual experiences that simulate real-life interactions. VR technology offers a new dimension of exploration, enabling people to live out fantasies or experiment with different dynamics in a safe, controlled way. Additionally, tech advancements such as sex toys, apps, and AI-driven platforms allow for more personalized sexual experiences. These developments have made sexual exploration more accessible and have created new opportunities for individuals to explore their desires in ways that were previously not possible, further expanding the boundaries of sexual freedom. Future technologies are poised to significantly change the landscape of unconventional desires by offering more immersive, interactive, and personalized experiences. Advancements in virtual reality (VR) and augmented reality (AR) could allow individuals to engage in fully immersive sexual experiences, blurring the lines between fantasy and reality. VR headsets and AR devices may enable people to explore a wide range of sexual scenarios and fantasies in a safe, private environment. Additionally, the development of AI-driven technologies, such as virtual companions or partners, may offer new ways for people to interact and fulfill unconventional desires without the need for human involvement. Sex robots and advanced sex toys, which are already being developed, could become more sophisticated, providing highly realistic experiences. As technology continues to advance, the possibilities for exploring unconventional desires will expand, making it easier for people to express themselves sexually while offering new ways to understand and navigate their desires, all while maintaining safety and consent. Encouraging a more inclusive and open-minded approach to human sexuality involves fostering an environment where individuals feel free to explore and express their desires without fear of judgment or discrimination. It requires shifting societal attitudes to recognize that human sexuality is diverse, and what is considered normal can vary widely from person to person. Education and awareness are key in this process, as they help dispel myths and challenge outdated beliefs about sexuality. By promoting respect for consent, autonomy, and personal choice, society can embrace a broader range of sexual identities and practices. Additionally, open dialogue about sexuality in various forms such as media, educational programs, and public discussions can normalize diverse experiences. Supporting those with unconventional desires through mental health services and community groups can also help individuals navigate their sexuality in a healthy and constructive way. Ultimately, a more inclusive approach encourages acceptance and understanding, allowing people to feel validated and respected in their sexual expression. Reinforcing the values of consent, respect, and safety in any form of sexual expression is essential for creating healthy, trusting, and mutually satisfying relationships. Consent is the foundation of any sexual interaction, ensuring that all parties are willing participants who agree to the activity without any pressure or coercion. Respect involves acknowledging each person's autonomy, desires, and boundaries, creating a space where everyone feels valued and heard. Safety goes beyond physical protection and includes emotional and psychological well-being, ensuring that individuals feel secure and supported throughout their experiences. These values are especially important in unconventional sexual practices, where open communication and clear boundaries are crucial. By reinforcing consent, respect, and safety, we encourage a culture of mutual understanding where individuals can explore their sexual desires freely without fear of harm, exploitation, or judgment. These values ensure that all participants can enjoy their experiences in a healthy, positive, and empowering environment. Summarizing, the need for continued dialogue and research in sexuality studies highlights the importance of understanding the complexities of human sexuality. As society evolves, so do perceptions of sexual norms, desires, and behaviors. Ongoing research helps challenge outdated ideas and provides a more inclusive, accurate understanding of diverse sexual experiences. Open dialogue fosters acceptance and reduces stigma, allowing individuals to explore their sexuality in a healthy, informed way. Sexuality studies can also address the psychological, social, and cultural factors that influence sexual expression, creating a more holistic view of human desires and relationships. Additionally, continuous research ensures that legal, ethical, and medical guidelines are aligned with current knowledge and societal needs. By promoting further conversation and investigation into sexuality, we can create a safer, more empathetic world where all individuals can freely express their sexual identities without fear of judgment or harm. Human sexuality is a complex and multifaceted aspect of human identity and experience. It encompasses a wide range of behaviors, desires, and expressions that are shaped by biological, psychological, cultural, and social factors. At its core, sexuality involves how individuals experience and express their sexual feelings, preferences, and attractions. This includes physical attraction, sexual behaviors, desires, fantasies, and the emotional connections that accompany them. Sexuality is not limited to just heterosexual or reproductive activities, but can involve a variety of orientations and expressions, including homosexuality, bisexuality, asexuality, and more. Throughout history, cultural norms and societal expectations have influenced how sexuality is perceived and expressed, often defining what is considered normal or acceptable. Over time, these views have evolved, and there is a growing recognition of the diversity within human sexuality. Sexuality is a deeply personal and individual experience, and it can change over time depending on one's experiences, relationships, and personal growth. Desires are fundamental aspects of human nature, representing the emotional and psychological drives that motivate individuals to seek pleasure, satisfaction, or fulfillment. They can be conscious or unconscious, arising from personal experiences, biological instincts, or societal influences. What makes desires hidden is the aspect of them that remains unspoken or repressed, often due to social taboos, moral beliefs, or personal shame. Hidden desires are those feelings or urges that individuals may not express openly, either because they fear judgment or because they have internalized societal norms that discourage certain behaviors. These desires often remain buried in the subconscious and can manifest in dreams, fantasies, or other forms of expression. The concept of hidden desires is complex as they reflect the tension between personal wants and the expectations imposed by society or internal morality. People may struggle to reconcile these desires with their public persona, leading to feelings of guilt or confusion. Societal norms and cultural definitions of conventional sexual behavior are shaped by historical, religious, and cultural beliefs, creating a framework for what is considered acceptable or appropriate in different societies. These norms define sexual behavior, often establishing boundaries for what is deemed moral, legal, and socially acceptable. For example, many societies view heterosexual marriage as the ideal form of sexual behavior, while other forms of sexual expression such as homosexuality or non-monogamy may be stigmatized or deemed unacceptable. Cultural definitions of conventional sexual behavior also encompass expectations regarding gender roles, consent, and age, dictating who is seen as eligible for sexual relationships and how sexual activities should be conducted. These norms are reinforced through various institutions including family, education, and religion, and can evolve over time as societies change. However, the influence of societal norms on individual sexual behavior can lead to pressure, guilt, or shame for those who deviate from these expectations, often causing internal conflicts. Unconventional sexuality refers to sexual behaviors, desires, or identities that fall outside the traditional norms set by society. These can include practices or orientations that do not align with mainstream views of sexuality, such as BDSM, polyamory, or non-heteronormative sexualities like homosexuality and asexuality. What is considered unconventional varies greatly across cultures, time periods, and social contexts, as each society has its own set of rules about what is acceptable. The concept of taboo arises when these sexual behaviors challenge or deviate from the established norms, leading to social discomfort or disapproval. Such practices may be stigmatized, marginalized, or hidden due to the fear of judgment, ostracism, or legal repercussions. The idea of what is unconventional is often shaped by moral, religious, or cultural beliefs that attempt to preserve traditional values. As society evolves, some previously unconventional behaviors may become more accepted or normalized, but they still carry a sense of challenge to the status quo. Unconscious desires play a significant role in shaping sexual fantasies, often stemming from deep-seated psychological needs and experiences. These desires are not always consciously recognized but manifest in dreams, daydreams, or fantasies. They may be influenced by past experiences, repressed emotions, or unmet desires. For instance, a person's unconscious desire for control or submission might surface in sexual fantasies involving dominance and submission. Similarly, fantasies may be shaped by early relationships or experiences, such as parental dynamics or societal taboos, that have left a lasting impression on the subconscious mind. These unconscious desires provide a way for individuals to explore or express aspects of their identity, power, vulnerability, or emotional needs in a safe and private manner. Often they serve as a means of psychological release or coping, allowing people to safely navigate complex or taboo aspects of their sexuality that they might otherwise feel uncomfortable addressing in real life. Psychological factors play a significant role in shaping unconventional desires. These desires often stem from deeper emotional or mental needs that are not typically addressed by conventional sexual experiences. Childhood experiences, family dynamics, and early attachments can influence sexual preferences later in life. For example, a person who experienced neglect or overprotection may develop unconventional desires related to power dynamics such as dominance or submission. Repressed emotions or unacknowledged fantasies can also shape these desires, as individuals may seek out alternative ways to express repressed parts of their identity or emotions. Trauma, whether physical or emotional, can lead to the development of unconventional desires as a coping mechanism, with the person seeking to regain control or make sense of past experiences. Additionally, societal taboos and the thrill of breaking norms can heighten the allure of unconventional desires, making them more appealing. These factors combined create a complex web that shapes individual sexual fantasies and preferences. Genetic and environmental factors both play a crucial role in shaping sexual preferences. Genetic influences can determine aspects of a person's sexual orientation or attraction patterns, as some studies suggest that genetic factors may contribute to the development of certain sexual preferences. These influences can be linked to variations in brain structure, hormone levels, and other biological elements that may predispose an individual to specific attractions. On the other hand, environmental factors such as upbringing, culture, and life experiences can also significantly shape sexual preferences. Family dynamics, early sexual experiences, and societal norms all influence how a person's sexual desires and attractions develop over time. Social and cultural contexts, including exposure to certain media, peer pressure, and the values a person is raised with, can have a powerful impact on what sexual preferences are considered attractive or acceptable. Together, genetic and environmental factors interact to form a person's unique sexual identity and preferences. Case studies of individuals who experience unconventional desires from a young age often reveal a complex interplay of psychological, environmental, and sometimes genetic factors. These individuals may exhibit non-traditional sexual preferences or fantasies that deviate from societal norms. In many cases, their early experiences, such as exposure to certain stimuli, relationships with caregivers, or childhood trauma, can influence the development of these desires. Psychological factors like the need for control, power dynamics, or emotional fulfillment may also play a significant role. For example, a child who witnesses unhealthy relationships or experiences abuse may develop fantasies centered around control or dominance as a way to regain power. Additionally, these desires may evolve or intensify over time, sometimes causing distress if the individual feels conflicted between their desires and societal expectations. Understanding these case studies requires a nuanced approach that considers the broad spectrum of influences shaping sexual development and expression. Different cultures view unconventional sexual practices through unique moral, religious, and traditional lenses. What is considered taboo in one culture may be accepted or even celebrated in another. For example, some indigenous tribes have long recognized non-binary genders or same-sex relationships as natural parts of human diversity. In contrast, more conservative societies often strictly define acceptable sexual behavior based on religious doctrines or long-standing customs. These cultural differences are influenced by historical, social, and political contexts. In Western societies, the conversation around unconventional desires has become more open due to movements for sexual freedom and human rights. Meanwhile, in some Eastern or religious communities, discussing or acknowledging such topics remains highly sensitive or even punishable. Media, education, and globalization also play roles in reshaping how unconventional sexuality is perceived. Overall, cultural context plays a major role in shaping whether such practices are seen as expressions of personal identity or violations of moral norms. Religion, law, and tradition play a major role in shaping how societies view and regulate sexuality. Religious teachings often set strict moral guidelines about what is considered acceptable sexual behavior, usually promoting sex only within marriage and condemning acts seen as sinful or unnatural. These religious beliefs strongly influence legal systems, especially in conservative or theocratic countries, where laws may criminalize certain sexual behaviors or identities. Traditions also pass down generational values that shape personal and cultural attitudes toward sexuality. In many societies, tradition creates gender roles and expectations that define how people should behave sexually. These systems of control can create shame, guilt, or fear around natural desires, especially when someone's sexuality falls outside what is considered normal. While some communities are becoming more open and accepting, others remain deeply rooted in religious and traditional values. Altogether, religion, law, and tradition continue to affect how sexuality is understood, accepted, or repressed in society. Throughout history, the idea of what is considered normal in sexuality has changed significantly across different societies and time periods. In ancient civilizations like Greece and Rome, same-sex relationships were often accepted and even celebrated among certain social classes. However, with the rise of organized religions like Christianity and Islam, sexual behavior outside heterosexual marriage became condemned and labeled as immoral or sinful. During the Victorian era, for instance, even open discussions about sexuality were discouraged, and many natural desires were seen as shameful. In the 20th century, especially after the sexual revolution of the 1960s, attitudes began to shift again. People started challenging old norms, advocating for LGBTQ+ rights, and embracing sexual freedom. What was once taboo slowly became more accepted in many parts of the world. These changes show that normal sexuality is not fixed, but is shaped by culture, religion, politics, and evolving social values over time. The internet and global connectivity have had a huge impact on sexual freedom and exploration. People can now access information about sexuality from different cultures and communities around the world. This has helped many individuals understand their own desires better and find others who share the same interests. Online platforms offer safe spaces where people can explore their identities without fear of judgment. Social media forums and websites have also helped break many taboos by starting open discussions about topics that were once considered shameful or hidden. However, the internet also brings risks like exposure to harmful content, misinformation, and privacy concerns. Despite this, it has played a key role in normalizing many aspects of human sexuality and giving voice to people who were once isolated. Overall, global connectivity has made it easier for people to express themselves, learn from others, and explore their sexuality in more open and informed ways. Exploring various fetishes helps us understand the complexity of human sexuality. Fetishes are intense attractions toward specific objects, body parts, or situations that may not be traditionally linked to sexual desire. These can include things like feet, leather, uniforms, or role-playing scenarios. The origins of fetishes often trace back to early childhood experiences, subconscious associations, or emotional imprints. Psychologically, a fetish can provide a sense of control, comfort, or excitement. For some, it may be a way to express hidden parts of their personality or cope with emotional needs. The brain can associate certain objects or actions with pleasure, making them sexually appealing over time. Fetishes are not necessarily harmful and are considered part of normal sexual variation unless they cause distress or harm to others. Understanding them with an open mind helps reduce stigma and allows individuals to better understand themselves and their partners in a safe and respectful way. The role of consent and safety is crucial when exploring any form of sexual desire, especially unconventional ones. Consent means that all individuals involved clearly agree to participate without pressure, fear, or manipulation. It must be informed, enthusiastic, and can be withdrawn at any time. Safety involves creating an environment where physical and emotional well-being is protected. This includes setting boundaries, using safe words, and communicating openly before and after any activity. Trust is built when people feel respected and heard. In communities where alternative desires are explored, such as BDSM or fetish groups, consent and safety are often the foundation of all interactions. Ignoring these principles can lead to harm, trauma, or abuse. Education and awareness are important to ensure that exploration remains healthy and respectful. By prioritizing consent and safety, people can experience deeper trust, connection, and personal freedom while reducing risk and misunderstandings. Polyamory, open relationships, and swinging are all forms of consensual non-monogamy, where people explore love, intimacy, or sexual connections with more than one partner. In polyamory, individuals may form emotional and romantic bonds with multiple people, often with honesty and deep commitment. Open relationships usually involve a primary romantic partnership while allowing sexual or emotional experiences with others. Swinging often focuses more on recreational sexual encounters between couples with other like-minded couples or individuals. These relationship models challenge traditional views of monogamy and require strong communication, trust, and respect. Clear boundaries and agreements help prevent jealousy and misunderstandings. People who choose these paths often seek freedom, personal growth, or a deeper understanding of love. However, such relationships also come with emotional challenges and societal judgments. When handled with maturity and care, they can lead to meaningful and fulfilling experiences, showing that love and connection can exist beyond traditional structures. Society has traditionally upheld monogamy as the ideal and most accepted form of relationship. It is often linked with values like loyalty, commitment, and stability. In contrast, non-monogamous relationships such as polyamory, open relationships, and swinging are frequently misunderstood and judged. Many people assume these relationship structures lack seriousness or emotional depth. This can lead to social stigma, criticism, and isolation for those who practice them. However, attitudes are slowly changing with more awareness and open conversations about diverse lifestyles. Some now view these alternative models as expressions of freedom, honesty, and personal choice. Media, research, and advocacy have helped challenge old stereotypes and promote understanding. Still, monogamy remains the norm in most cultures, laws, and institutions like marriage. People in non-monogamous relationships often face the pressure to conform. Acceptance continues to grow, but full equality in societal perception is still a work in progress. The appeal of dominance and submission in sexual relationships lies in the deep psychological and emotional connection it can create between partners. For many individuals, it is not just about physical control but about trust, vulnerability, and power exchange. The dominant partner often feels a sense of responsibility and confidence, while the submissive partner may experience safety and freedom in giving up control. This dynamic can heighten intimacy because both partners must communicate openly about limits, boundaries, and desires. It allows people to explore different roles and sides of themselves that they may not express in everyday life. The emotional intensity of such interactions can lead to a stronger bond. Consent and mutual respect are essential in these relationships, as trust forms the foundation of any dominant or submissive dynamic. When practiced safely and respectfully, it becomes a healthy and fulfilling way to express intimacy and explore desire. The psychology behind power exchange in sexual relationships revolves around the dynamics of control, trust, and vulnerability. In a power exchange dynamic, the dominant partner takes control, while the submissive partner willingly surrenders control. This can lead to a heightened sense of intimacy and connection as both partners explore different aspects of themselves and their desires. For the dominant partner, power can provide a sense of authority and responsibility, while the submissive partner may find comfort and safety in relinquishing control. The key to healthy power exchange lies in clear communication, boundaries, and mutual consent. Safe consensual practices ensure that both partners are comfortable and respected throughout the experience. Emotional well-being and mental safety are maintained by ongoing discussions about desires and limits. Consent is central to this exchange, allowing both individuals to engage in the dynamic in a way that enhances their emotional and physical connection without fear of harm or discomfort.